In the year 2022, our character's journey of transformation and personal growth starts to manifest externally, particularly in his professional life. Let's explore how this second year unfolds for him, focusing on new job opportunities that align with his newfound skills and the personal changes he's made. January 2022, the turning point. New job. Inspired by his progress in Spanish and personal development, he decides to seek a job that would allow him to use his language skills and his improved ability to connect with others. He finds a position as a customer service representative for a company that requires bilingual English-Spanish speakers. This role not only allows him to practice Spanish daily, but also challenges him to use his listening and empathy skills in resolving customer issues. Struggle. Adapting to a new work environment and the pressure of using Spanish professionally. Progress. His confidence grows as he successfully navigates customer interactions, receiving positive feedback for his empathetic approach and effective communication. March 2022, expanding his impact. New job. As he becomes more comfortable in his role, he's approached by a nonprofit organization that works with Spanish-speaking communities. They offer him a part-time position as a community outreach coordinator, impressed by his language skills and his genuine desire to make a difference. Struggle, balancing two jobs and continuing his personal development journey. Progress, he finds fulfillment in making a tangible impact in the community, which fuels his passion for learning and personal growth. His ability to connect with diverse groups enhances his reputation as a compassionate and effective communicator. June 2022. Embracing leadership. New job. Recognizing his leadership potential, his supervisors at the nonprofit propose he lead a new project focused on developing educational programs for Spanish-speaking youth. This role requires strategic planning, team leadership, and direct engagement with community members and partners. Struggle. The challenge of stepping into a leadership role and managing a project from the ground up. He embraces the challenge, using his organizational skills, empathy, and Spanish fluency to unite his team and drive the project forward. His success in this role marks a significant milestone in his professional development. September 2022, a leap of faith. Motivated by his experiences and the skills he has developed, he decides to take a leap of faith and start his own small business. Leveraging his understanding of the Spanish-speaking market and his desire to serve the community, he launches a service that provides language and cultural integration support for Spanish-speaking immigrants. Struggle, the uncertainties of entrepreneurship and the responsibility of running a business. Progress, through hard work, resilience, and the application of his personal and professional skills, his business begins to gain traction. He finds joy in being able to blend his passion for language, personal growth, and service into a career that reflects his values and journey. December 2022, reflection and gratitude. Progress. As the year closes, he takes time to reflect on his journey. From starting the year as a customer service representative to ending it as a business owner and community leader, his transformation is evident not only to himself, but to all around him. He is grateful for the challenges and opportunities that have shaped his path, recognizing that his faith, perseverance, and commitment to growth have been key to his success. Throughout 2022, our character's story is one of outward expansion and professional development, mirroring his internal growth. His journey from employee to entrepreneur and community leader illustrates the profound impact that personal change can have on one's career and on the lives of others. Through his actions, he exemplifies how dedication to personal development, coupled with a desire to serve and connect with others, can lead to fulfilling and impactful career opportunities. Adjusting the narrative to reflect that the character keeps his changes internal during the initial months adds a layer of introspection and quiet determination to his journey. Let's refine the first year with this consideration in mind. January to March 2021. The silent transformation. Struggle, balancing the intense desire for change with the need to keep this process internal. He faces the challenge of old habits and skepticism from his social circle, who are unaware of his internal commitment. Progress. He quietly begins his journey by establishing a personal routine of reflection, prayer, and self-education. He starts learning Spanish online, keeping his efforts and struggles to himself, and relying on digital resources and apps to avoid drawing attention. April 2021, Building Foundations in Silence. Struggle? The internal battle with the slow pace of learning Spanish and personal growth without external validation or support. Progress? Deepens his commitment by setting small, achievable goals. He celebrates these personal victories in his journal, which becomes a source of solace and reflection. May 2021, Internal Conflicts and Breakthroughs. Struggle. The loneliness of his journey becomes more pronounced as he maintains the facade of unchanged normalcy to the outside world. Progress. Finds an online community for language learners, providing him a sense of belonging and a safe space to share his progress and challenges anonymously. June 2021, Quiet Consistency. Struggle. Staying motivated without being able to share his true self and progress with those around him. Progress establishes a stable routine that includes consistent study, spiritual practice, and personal reflection. He begins to notice a shift in his internal dialogue, becoming more positive and self-assured. July 2021, The Struggle Within. Struggle, an internal setback, perhaps in his faith or in his Spanish progress, tests his resolve. Progress turns to meditation and prayer, seeking strength from within and from his faith. He starts reading more complex Spanish texts, challenging himself to grow from the setback. August 2021, Silent Growth, the craving for external acknowledgement of his hard work and change. Progress starts to subtly incorporate his new skills into daily life, like using Spanish phrases when possible, and applying his improved empathy and listening skills in interactions, still keeping the depth of his journey private. September 2021, Nurturing Empathy in Silence. Struggle. Observing others' challenges and struggles without interjecting his newly gained perspectives. Progress. Practices active listening more intentionally, using his growing understanding of human nature and empathy to offer silent support, noticing how these changes positively affect his relationships. October 2021, The Integration Begins. Struggle. Balancing the old and new aspects of his identity without revealing the extent of his transformation. Progress. Begins to feel more integrated within himself, finding that his new habits and Spanish proficiency have become a natural part of his daily life. November 2021, Silent Gratitude. Struggle. The impatience for more progress while recognizing the journey so far has been largely solitary. Progress. Reflects on his silent journey, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the personal strength and discipline he has developed. He also acknowledges the progress in Spanish, now understanding and even thinking in the language at times. December 2021, Silently Forward. Struggle. The realization that his journey will continue to require balance between internal growth and external expression. Progress. Prepares for the next steps, contemplating how and when to start sharing his transformation more openly. He sets goals for the coming year that include not only advancing his Spanish to higher levels of fluency, but also finding ways to share his journey with others, perhaps starting to mentor or help others in silent ways he would have appreciated during his early days of transformation. This year of silent transformation showcases the character's resilience, discipline, and the power of internal change. By keeping his journey private initially, he builds a solid foundation of self-reliance, deepens his spiritual connection, and significantly advances his language skills, all of which prepare him for the more outward-facing phases of his journey. Certainly, here's a vocabulary list based on the story presented in English with their Spanish translations. 1. Vibrant neighborhood, vecindario vibrante. 2. Community garden, jardín comunitario. 3. Sanctuary, santuario. 4. Regulars, habituales. 5. Retired school principal, director de escuela jubilado. 6. Loneliness, soledad. 7. Single mother, madre soltera. 8. Striving luchando. 9. Artist, artista. 10. Self-doubt, duda de sí mismo. 11. Dispute, disputa 2. Allocation, asignación. 13. Tensions flared, las tensiones se encendieron. 14. Harmony, armonía. 15. Chaos, caos. 16. Newcomer, recién llegado a. 17. Therapist, terapeuta. Dicho open dialogue, diálogo abierto. 19. Frustrations, frustraciones. 20. Passing of someone, fallecimiento. 21. Purpose, propósito. 22. Dreams, sueños. 23. Make ends meet, llegar a fin de mes. 24. Artistic aspirations, aspiraciones artísticas. 25. Fear of rejection, miedo al rechazo. 26. Empathy, empatía. 27. Understanding, comprensión. 28. Flourished, floreció. 29. Bonds, lazos. 30. Collective care, cuidado colectivo. 31. Symbol of unity, símbolo de unidad. 32. Lessons in empathy, lecciones de empatía. This list includes a range of vocabulary that touches on personal experiences, emotions, and the communal efforts described in the story, providing a solid foundation for discussing complex themes in both English and Spanish. In a vibrant neighborhood where every street corner buzzed with life, a community garden became the centerpiece for locals. The garden was not only a place for plants to grow, but also a sanctuary where people came together, sharing stories and support. En un vecindario vibrante, donde cada esquina de la calle zumbaba con vida, un jardín comunitario se convirtió en el centro de atención para los locales. El jardín no era solo un lugar para que crecieran las plantas, sino también un santuario donde la gente se reunía, compartiendo historias y apoyo. Among the regulars were Luis, a retired school principal facing the loneliness of old age, Maya, a single mother striving to provide for her 2 children, and Ethan, a young artist battling self-doubt and the fear of unfulfilled potential. Entre los habituales estaban Luis, un director de escuela jubilado que enfrentaba la soledad de la vejez, Maya, una madre soltera que luchaba por mantener a sus 2 hijos, y Ethan, un joven artista que luchaba contra la duda de sí mismo y el miedo a no cumplir con su potencial. One day, a dispute arose over the allocation of garden plots. Tensions flared as personal grievances and misunderstandings bubbled to the surface, threatening the harmony of the garden community. Un día, surgió una disputa sobre la asignación de parcelas en el jardín. Las tensiones se encendieron mientras los agravios personales y los malentendidos salían a la superficie, amenazando la armonía de la comunidad del jardín. Amid the chaos, a newcomer to the garden, Sofia, observed the unfolding drama. Sofia, a therapist by profession, recognized the deeper issues at play: loneliness, financial stress, and insecurity. En medio del caos, una recién llegada al jardín, Sofía, observó el drama que se desarrollaba. Sofía, terapeuta de profesión, reconoció los problemas más profundos en juego: soledad, estrés financiero e inseguridad. Sofía approached the group, her voice calm and inviting. "It seems we're all here because we're seeking something more than just a plot of earth," she began, encouraging a circle of open dialogue. Sofía se acercó al grupo, su voz calmada e invitante. "Parece que todos estamos aquí porque buscamos algo más que solo un pedazo de tierra", comenzó, alentando un círculo de diálogo abierto. As each person shared their story, the group began to see beyond their immediate frustrations. Luis spoke of his wife's recent passing and how the garden provided a sense of purpose. Maya shared her dreams for her children and the struggle to make ends meet. Ethan revealed his artistic aspirations and the fear of rejection. A medida que cada persona compartía su historia, el grupo comenzó a ver más allá de sus frustraciones inmediatas. Luis habló del reciente fallecimiento de su esposa y cómo el jardín le proporcionaba un sentido de propósito. Maya compartió sus sueños para sus hijos y la lucha por llegar a fin de mes. Ethan reveló sus aspiraciones artísticas y el miedo al rechazo. Sophia gently reminded the group of the quote, "Our love for others must outweigh our judgment of others." This message resonated deeply, fostering empathy and understanding among the members. Sofía recordó gentilmente al grupo la cita: "Nuestro amor por los demás debe superar nuestro juicio hacia los demás." Este mensaje resonó profundamente, fomentando la empatía y comprensión entre los miembros. The garden soon flourished, not just with plants, but with strong bonds of community and support. The members worked together to resolve their differences, realizing that their shared space was a reflection of their collective care and compassion. El jardín pronto floreció no solo con plantas, sino con fuertes lazos de comunidad y apoyo. Los miembros trabajaron juntos para resolver sus diferencias, dándose cuenta de que su espacio compartido era un reflejo de su cuidado y compasión colectivos. In the end, the garden became a symbol of unity and the power of understanding. The disputes over plots became lessons in empathy, teaching everyone involved that their love for each other truly outweighed any judgment. Al final, el jardín se convirtió en un símbolo de unidad y el poder de la comprensión. Las disputas sobre las parcelas se convirtieron en lecciones de empatía, enseñando a todos los involucrados que su amor mutuo realmente superaba cualquier juicio. In the heart of a bustling city, nestled among towering skyscrapers, there was a small, independently owned bookstore that served as a sanctuary for those who sought refuge in the pages of a book. En el corazón de una ciudad bulliciosa, rodeada de rascacielos imponentes, había una pequeña librería independiente que servía como refugio para aquellos que buscaban consuelo en las páginas de un libro. The store was run by a young woman named Claire, who had inherited her passion for books from her grandmother. Claire poured her soul into the store, but the pressures of managing it often weighed heavily on her shoulders. La tienda estaba dirigida por una joven llamada Claire, quien había heredado su pasión por los libros de su abuela. Claire ponía su alma en la tienda, pero las presiones de administrarla a menudo pesaban mucho en sus hombros. One stormy afternoon, as rain pattered against the window panes and thunder rumbled in the distance, a customer named Thomas entered the bookstore. Una tarde tormentosa, mientras la lluvia golpeaba contra los cristales de las ventanas y el trueno retumbaba en la distancia, un cliente llamado Thomas entró en la librería. He was a retired teacher, with a gentle demeanor and a love for literature that had led him to Claire's store many times before. Él era un profesor jubilado, con un comportamiento gentil y un amor por la literatura que lo había llevado muchas veces antes a la tienda de Claire. Upon entering, Thomas noticed an unusual tension in the air. Claire was behind the counter, her eyes red and swollen from tears, struggling to deal with a complicated issue on the store's computer system. Al entrar, Thomas notó una tensión inusual en el aire. Claire estaba detrás del mostrador, con los ojos rojos e hinchados por las lágrimas, luchando para resolver un problema complicado en el sistema informático de la tienda. She was on the verge of losing her temper, her frustration palpable as she muttered to herself about the unwavering demands of running the business. Estaba al borde de perder la paciencia, su frustración palpable mientras murmuraba para sí misma sobre las exigentes demandas de administrar el negocio. Observing this, Thomas approached the counter with a soft smile, his presence calm and reassuring. "Tough day, huh?" he gently asked, his voice laced with empathy. Observando esto, Thomas se acercó al mostrador con una sonrisa suave, su presencia calmada y tranquilizadora. ¿Día difícil, eh?" preguntó con suavidad, su voz impregnada de empatía. Claire looked up, her defenses ready to ward off any complaints or demands. However, seeing the genuine concern in Thomas's eyes, her walls began to crumble. Claire levantó la vista, sus defensas listas para repeler cualquier queja o demanda. Sin embargo, al ver la genuina preocupación en los ojos de Thomas, sus barreras comenzaron a desmoronarse. She shared with Thomas the challenges she faced, from the overwhelming tasks of managing the store alone to the fear of letting her grandmother down. Compartió con Thomas los desafíos que enfrentaba, desde las abrumadoras tareas de administrar la tienda sola hasta el miedo de defraudar a su abuela. Thomas listened intently, his heart touched by Claire's vulnerability. He remembered his days in the classroom, how he had navigated the storms of his own career by leaning on the understanding of others. Thomas escuchó atentamente, su corazón conmovido por la vulnerabilidad de Claire. Recordó sus días en el aula, cómo había navegado por las tormentas de su propia carrera, apoyándose en la comprensión de los demás. With a voice warm and steady, Thomas shared stories of his teaching days, of the struggles and triumphs, and how he learned that it was okay to seek help and take a moment for oneself. Con una voz cálida y firme, Thomas compartió historias de sus días de enseñanza, de las luchas y triunfos, y cómo aprendió que estaba bien buscar ayuda y tomarse un momento para uno mismo. He spoke of the importance of compassion, both towards oneself and others, reflecting on the quote, "Our love for others must outweigh our judgment of others." Habló. Certainly, let's review our discussion from today, February 4th, 2024, focusing on the key points and insights covered in our conversation. Our discussion revolved around several interconnected themes: truth and honesty in personal development, giving and receiving validation, and the nuances of workplace interactions, particularly in the context of maintaining positive behavior streaks and how these are perceived and addressed. Truth and honesty in personal development. We discussed the importance of truth and honesty as foundational elements in personal growth, emphasizing self-reflection, education, practicing transparency, and setting boundaries were highlighted as ways to become a more honest person aligned with the truth. We also explored the challenges of expecting honesty from others and how to handle situations where others may not share the same commitment to truthfulness. Strategies for dealing with dishonesty included direct communication, seeking understanding, and modeling forgiveness, all underpinned by the recognition that one's control over truthfulness primarily lies within oneself. The power of validation. We delved into the practice of giving genuine validation as a means to recognize and affirm the value of others. This discussion covered practical exercises and tips for observing positive behaviors, offering specific compliments, and using active listening to identify validation opportunities. The conversation underscored the importance of starting small, integrating validation into daily routines, and being patient with oneself while developing this skill. The broader impact of consistently offering validation was highlighted as creating a positive feedback loop that enhances relationships, fosters a supportive environment, and encourages personal and professional growth. Workplace dynamics and recognition. A significant portion of our conversation focused on a hypothetical scenario involving a worker who had made a considerable effort to change a negative behavior, e.g., tardiness or complaining, and successfully maintained a positive streak for 200 days. We examined the implications of the worker's single lapse being disproportionately emphasized by a manager, overlooking the worker's long period of improvement. This led to a discussion about the importance of context, acknowledgement of effort, and constructive communication in the workplace. Strategies for both the worker and the manager were proposed to ensure that feedback is fair, motivational, and leads to continuous improvement rather than discouragement. Key takeaways: personal growth through honesty. Developing honesty and truthfulness is a personal journey that impacts not only oneself, but also how one interacts with and influences others. Validation as a catalyst for positive change. Giving and receiving validation can significantly enhance motivation, self-esteem, and interpersonal relationships. Navigating workplace interactions. The scenario highlighted the importance of recognizing efforts, avoiding generalizations based on isolated incidents, and fostering a culture that values constructive feedback and open communication. Conclusion. Our discussion emphasized the intertwined nature of truth, validation, and effective communication in fostering personal growth and creating positive environments, whether in personal settings or the workplace. By committing to these principles, one can navigate challenges more effectively, inspire change in others, and contribute to a culture of respect, understanding, and continuous improvement. Certainly, transforming old mindsets into new, more constructive ones is crucial for personal growth and effective communication. Below, I'll outline several examples of how one might shift from an old mindset to a new mindset, including dialogue examples with others and strategies for reframing situations internally. 1. From fixed to growth mindset. Old mindset: I'm just not good at this, I'll never improve. New mindset: every skill is learnable, I can improve with practice and effort. Dialogue example: old, I can't present in front of the team, I'm terrible at public speaking. New: public speaking is challenging for me, but I'm working on it. Can you give me feedback on my presentation skills? Reframing for inner voice. Instead of telling yourself you're inherently bad at something, remind yourself of times you've learned new skills successfully. I learned skill before, I can learn this too. 2. From avoiding feedback to seeking growth through feedback. Old mindset. Feedback is a criticism of me personally. It's best avoided. New mindset. Feedback is about my actions, not my worth. It's valuable for growth. Dialogue example old, I don't want to hear what I did wrong. It's demotivating. New, I appreciate your feedback. Understanding where I can improve helps me grow. Can we discuss how I might address these areas? Reframing for inner voice. When receiving feedback, instead of internalizing it as a personal flaw, frame it as an opportunity. This feedback is a tool to help me excel. 3. From seeing mistakes as failures to viewing them as learning opportunities. Old mindset, making a mistake I failed. It's embarrassing. New mindset, every mistake is a learning opportunity. What can I learn from this? Dialogue example. Old, I messed up on the project. I feel like certainly transforming old mindsets into new, more constructive ones is crucial for personal growth and effective communication. Below, I'll outline several examples of how one might shift from an old mindset, working on it, to How are 2. From avoiding feedback to seeking growth through feedback. Old mindset. Feedback is a criticism of me personally. It's best avoided. New mindset. Feedback is about my actions, not my worth. It's valuable for growth. Dialogue example. Old. I don't want to hear what I did wrong. It's demotivating. New. I appreciate your feedback. Understanding where I can improve helps me grow. Can we discuss how I might address these areas? Reframing for inner voice. When receiving feedback, instead of internalizing it as a personal flaw, frame it as an opportunity. This feedback is a tool to help me excel. 3. From seeing mistakes as failures to viewing them as learning opportunities. Old mindset, making a mistake means I failed. It's embarrassing. New mindset, every mistake is a learning opportunity. What can I learn from this? Old, I messed up on the project. I feel like quitting. New, the project didn't go as planned, and I've identified a few key areas for improvement. Let's discuss how we can tackle this moving forward. Reframing for inner voice. Shift from self-criticism to curiosity when mistakes happen. This was unexpected. What can it teach me? 4. From withholding validation to freely giving recognition. Old mindset, people should just do their jobs without needing praise. New mindset, giving validation can motivate and uplift others. Dialogue example, old, silence, even when noticing a job well done. I noticed how you handled that situation with great patience and skill. Your approach really made a difference. Great job. Reframing for inner voice. Instead of underestimating the value of acknowledgement, remind yourself of the power of positive reinforcement. Recognition boosts morale and encourages more of the same good behavior. Nanner 5. From avoiding challenges to embracing them for growth. Old mindset. This is too hard. Avoiding it is easier. New mindset. Challenges are opportunities to grow and learn. Dialogue example, old, I don't think I should take on this project. It's beyond my current skills. New, this project is going to stretch me, and I'll need to learn as I go. I'm up for the challenge and excited to grow. Reframing for inner voice. When faced with a daunting task, shift from avoidance to enthusiasm. This is my chance to push my limits and expand my abilities. Conclusion. These mindset shifts and examples illustrate the power of reframing thoughts and dialogues, both internally and with others, to foster a more positive, growth-oriented approach to life and work. By consciously practicing these new mindsets, you can transform challenges into opportunities, foster better relationships, and drive personal and professional growth. On February 4, 2024, let's delve into a story that inverts our previous narrative, focusing on a compassionate customer who brings peace to a distressed worker, embodying the principle, our love for others must outweigh our judgment of others. In the heart of a bustling city, Nestled among towering skyscrapers, there was a small, independently owned bookstore that served as a sanctuary for those who sought refuge in the pages of a book. The store was run by a young woman named Claire, who had inherited her passion for books from her grandmother. Claire poured her soul into the store, but the pressures of managing it often weighed heavily on her shoulders. One stormy afternoon, as rain pattered against the window panes and thunder rumbled in the distance, a customer named Thomas entered the bookstore. He was a retired teacher with a gentle demeanor and a love for literature that had led him to Claire's store many times before. Upon entering, Thomas noticed an unusual tension in the air. Claire was behind the counter, her eyes red and swollen from tears, struggling to deal with a complicated issue on the store's computer system. She was on the verge of losing her temper, her frustration palpable as she muttered to herself about the unwavering demands of running the business. Observing this, Thomas approached the counter with a soft smile, his presence calm and reassuring. "Tough day, huh?" he gently asked, his voice laced with empathy. Claire looked up, her defenses ready to ward off any complaints or demands. However, seeing the genuine concern in Thomas's eyes, her walls began to crumble. She shared with Thomas the challenges she faced, from the overwhelming tasks of managing the store alone to the fear of letting her grandmother down. Thomas listened intently, his heart touched by Claire's vulnerability. He remembered his days in the classroom, how he had navigated the storms of his own career by leaning on the understanding of others. With a voice warm and steady, Thomas shared stories of his teaching days, of the struggles and triumphs, and how he learned that it was okay to seek help and take a moment for oneself. He spoke of the importance of compassion, both towards oneself and others, reflecting on the quote, "Our love for others must outweigh our judgment of others." As they talked, the atmosphere in the bookstore transformed. The tension that had once filled the air dissipated, replaced by a sense of calm and understanding. Claire, feeling seen and heard, found a new sense of strength and resilience. Thomas's visit became a turning point for Claire. She began to approach her work with a renewed perspective, realizing that it was not the judgment of others she feared, but her own harsh judgment of herself. In time, she learned to extend the same compassion and understanding to herself that she offered to her beloved customers. The bookstore flourished, becoming more than just a place to buy books. It evolved into a community where people came for the stories and stayed for the warmth and empathy that filled the space, a testament to the power of compassion in transforming our worlds. This story serves as a profound reminder of the impact our empathy and understanding can have on others. In a world quick to judge and slow to listen, choosing to lead with love can not only calm the stormy seas we each navigate, but also illuminate the path forward with kindness and grace. Today, February 4th, 2024, we'll weave a story around the profound quote, "Our love for others must outweigh our judgment of others." Let's embark on this narrative journey. In a small, bustling town nestled between rolling hills and vast fields, there lived a man named Marcus. Marcus was a well-respected figure in the community, known for his wisdom and a heart as large as the town itself. However, there was one thing that Marcus struggled with deeply: his tendency to judge others too quickly, often overlooking the struggles and stories that shaped them. One chilly autumn morning, as Marcus walked through the town square, he noticed a young man sitting alone on a bench, his clothes tattered and his eyes lost in the distance. Without a second thought, Marcus assumed the young man was just another wanderer passing through, perhaps too lazy to find work or direction in life. But as days passed, Marcus kept seeing the young man, always in the same spot, always alone. Curiosity overcame his initial judgment, and one day he decided to sit beside him. The young man's name was Alex, and his story was one of loss, resilience, and a desperate search for belonging. Alex had been a caretaker for his ailing mother, and after her passing, he found himself adrift in a world that seemed to have no place for him. Moved by Alex's story, Marcus realized how his quick judgment had blinded him to the young man's reality. He remembered the words his own mother often said, "Our love for others must outweigh our judgment of others." Marcus knew he had failed to live by these words until that moment. Determined to make a difference, Marcus invited Alex to stay with him until he could get back on his feet. He introduced Alex to the community, helping him find work and a place to belong. Marcus's act of kindness sparked a change in the town. People started opening their hearts, looking beyond their judgments to embrace the stories and struggles of others. Months turned into years, and the town transformed into a close-knit community where love outweighed judgment, where everyone was seen for who they were, not just at first glance. Marcus and Alex became a testament to the power of compassion, teaching others that understanding and empathy could bridge the widest divides. Through this story, we're reminded of the importance of choosing love over judgment, of looking beyond our initial impressions to see the humanity in others. Just like Marcus learned to see Alex in a new light, we too can learn to embrace those around us with open hearts and minds, fostering a world where love always outweighs judgment. Today, February 4, 2024, let's craft a story set in a bustling cafe in the heart of a vibrant city, where the lesson, our love for others must out our judgment of others, is illustrated through an encounter with an angry customer. Alina had always dreamed of owning a cafe, a cozy haven where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the sound of laughter filled the air. When she finally opened Elena's Espresso, it quickly became a beloved spot for locals. However, running a cafe wasn't without its challenges, especially when it came to handling difficult customers. One particularly busy morning, as the cafe hummed with the usual rush of caffeine-seeking patrons, a man stormed in, his face set in a scowl that seemed out of place in the warmth of Elena's espresso. The man, Mr. Davis, was a regular, known for his demanding nature and short temper. Today he was more furious than usual, loudly complaining about the wait time and berating the staff for what he perceived as incompetence. The other customers shifted uncomfortably as Mr. Davis's anger filled the cafe. Elena, feeling the tension rise, approached him with a calm demeanor, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "I'm so sorry you're upset, Mr. Davis," she began. "Please let me make it right." Mr. Davis, taken aback by Elena's genuine concern, began to explain his frustration. As he spoke, his anger ebbed, revealing the stress and exhaustion beneath. He had been caring for his sick wife while trying to balance a demanding job, leaving him on edge and quick to anger. Elena listened intently, her initial urge to defend her cafe and staff giving way to empathy for the man before her. She remembered the guiding principle her grandmother had instilled in her. Our love for others must outweigh our judgment of others. Realizing that Mr. Davis's outburst was a cry for understanding rather than a personal attack, Elena offered him his favorite drink on the house and a quiet corner where he could take a moment for himself. This simple act of kindness had a ripple effect. The atmosphere in the cafe softened, and the other customers began to show more patience and compassion towards one another. Mr. Davis, deeply moved by Elena's empathy, became one of the cafe's most loyal customers, always greeting the staff with a smile and sharing words of gratitude. From that day forward, Elena's Espresso wasn't just a cafe. It was a community where understanding and love triumphed over judgment and anger. Elena and her team learned that behind every harsh word could lie a story of struggle, and that compassion could turn even the sourest moments sweet. Through this narrative, we're reminded of the transformative power of empathy and understanding in the face of judgment. Elena's story teaches us that when we choose to respond with love rather than react to anger, we can create spaces of warmth and community, even in the most unlikely circumstances. In this scenario, both the worker and the boss have roles to play, and the situation highlights the importance of communication, recognition, and the handling of mistakes in the workplace. The worker's perspective. The worker, having recognized a problem with punctuality, took significant steps to correct this behavior, achieving a commendable streak of 200 workdays of being early. This demonstrates a strong commitment to change and improvement, which is admirable and indicates a high level of personal responsibility and work ethic. The boss's perspective. The boss, on noticing the worker's lateness on the 201st day, addresses it as a concern, possibly without awareness of the worker's recent record of improvement. From a management perspective, consistency in addressing issues like tardiness is important for maintaining standards and fairness in the workplace. However, this can overlook individual efforts and improvements if not properly informed. The issue of recognition. The worker feels that the boss's comment is dishonest or unfair because it seems to ignore the significant progress made. While it's true that employees aren't necessarily owed validation for fulfilling basic expectations like punctuality, recognizing and acknowledging improvement and consistent performance can be crucial for motivation and morale. Communication is key. 1. The worker could present the data from the habit tracking app as evidence of improvement, not as a defense for the single instance of being late, but as a demonstration of the overall positive change in behavior. 2. The boss, upon seeing the evidence, should acknowledge the improvement while also reiterating the importance of punctuality. It's about finding a balance between recognizing the effort and maintaining standards. Learning points. For the worker, it's important to communicate achievements and improvements to the boss, especially in areas previously identified as problematic. Keeping a record, as the worker did with the habit tracking app, is a good practice. For the boss, it's crucial to have a comprehensive view of an employee's performance. Recognizing and acknowledging positive changes in behavior can motivate employees to maintain or even improve their performance. For both, situations like this underscore the importance of ongoing communication and feedback. Regular check-ins or reviews can help both parties stay informed about performance and expectations. Ethical considerations. While the worker is understandably upset about the lack of recognition for his improvement, the boss's reaction might stem from a lack of information rather than an intention to be dishonest. This situation reflects the complexities of workplace dynamics, where both parties have valid points but might miss the opportunity for understanding due to a lack of communication. Conclusion. In essence, nobody is fundamentally in the wrong here. It's more about missed opportunities for communication and recognition. Encouraging a workplace culture where achievements are acknowledged and setbacks are handled constructively can lead to a more motivated, engaged, and productive team. Certainly, Will. Here's a detailed encapsulation of our conversation, tailored to reflect today's date as February 2nd, 2024. This extended version is designed to provide a comprehensive overview, perfect for in-depth study or reference. Title: Deep Dive into Elevating Spanish to C1 Level and Effective Note-Taking Strategies. Date: February 2nd, 2024. Introduction. Our conversation commenced with your request for assistance in expanding your Spanish vocabulary to reach a C1 proficiency level. You emphasized a desire for detailed responses, an openness to alternative viewpoints, and an awareness of potential biases and paradoxes. Enhancing Spanish vocabulary for C1 proficiency. 1. Strategies for vocabulary expansion. Specialized vocabulary. Tailor your learning to include terminology specific to your fields of interest or professional domain. Idiomatic expressions. Embrace phrases that convey meanings not directly deducible from the individual words, enriching your conversational fluency. Colloquial language. Incorporate slang and informal expressions prevalent among native speakers into your daily usage. Synonyms and antonyms. Broaden your linguistic precision by mastering words with similar and opposite meanings. Phrasal verbs. Familiarize yourself with verbs that, when combined with prepositions or adverbs, yield new meanings. Connectors and transition words. Enhance the coherence of your speech or writing by skillfully employing connectors. Subjunctive mood. Advance your grammatical competence by mastering the subjunctive mood for expressing wishes, doubts, and hypotheticals. 2. Practical application tips. Reading. Engage with a variety of texts that challenge your current level, such as literature, news, and academic articles in Spanish. Listening. Immerse yourself in Spanish through films, music, podcasts, and conversations to attune your certainly will. Here's a detailed encapsulation of our conversation, tailored to reflect today's date as February 2nd, 2020, potential biases in professional domain. Idiomatic expressions. Embrace antonyms. Broadens. Enhance the coherence of your speech or adhere to the language's nuances. Speaking. Note-taking for language learning. 1. Organizing notes. Structure your notes by topic, such as vocabulary themes, grammar rules, and practice tips, allowing for easy reference and review. 2. Handwritten notes tips. Certainly, let's structure this conversation into an expanded chiasmic format. 1A. Introduction to Goals and Time Management 2024. Late January 2024. Address the balance of maintaining a positive mindset and productivity in the work. Challenges of changing one's reputation within social dynamics. 5. Central focus on self-improvement. Throughout January 2024. Centered the conversation around self-improvement strategies, particularly the detailed monthly plan based on video insights for a year-long personal growth journey. 4B. Development of Alex's brand. Late January 2024. Shifted focus to the development of Alex's brand, detailing plans for content creation and strategies to share his narrative and build a brand identity. 3B. Optimizing morning productivity. February 1st, 2024. Discuss strategies for optimizing morning routines, on daily studies with GPT, and manage threads manually until a more automated. Certainly, let's structure this conversation into an expanded chiasmic format. 1A. Introduction to Goals and Time Management, early January 2024. Discuss the importance of managing and organizing your time effectively for goals such as personal growth, language learning, and professional development. 2A. Personal and Spiritual Growth, late January 2024. Explored integrating personal aspirations with spiritual development, acknowledging the importance of relying on God while taking personal action for growth and lifestyle changes. 3A. Workplace Dynamics and Adjusting Routines, late January 2024. Address the balance of maintaining a positive mindset and productivity in the workplace, even when facing challenges such as adapting to different work schedules. 4A. The Journey of Frank, mid-January 2024. Discuss the metaphorical journey of Frank, representing personal transformation and the challenges of changing one's reputation within social dynamics. 5. Central focus on self-improvement, throughout January 2024. Centered the conversation around self-improvement strategies, particularly the detailed monthly plan based on video insights for a year-long personal growth journey. 4B. Development of Alex's brand, late January 2024. Shifted focus to the development of Alex's brand, detailing plans for content creation and strategies to share his narrative and build a brand identity. 3B. Optimizing morning productivity. February 1st, 2024. Discuss strategies for optimizing morning routines to maximize productivity and enhance Spanish learning while maintaining a disciplined sleep schedule. 2B. Implementing a tracking system. February 1st, 2024. Emphasize the importance of creating a system to track progress on daily studies with GPT and manage threads manually until certainly. Let's tie everything together to clarify where the confusion might be coming from, focusing on the use of que, poder, and verb structures for expressing desires, obligations, or abilities in Spanish. 1. Expressing desires or wants for yourself. When expressing what you want to do, you typically use querer, infinitive verb. For example, quiero leer, I want to read. There's no need for que because the structure involves a direct action you want to undertake. 2. Expressing desires involving ability. If you're expressing a desire to have the ability to do something, use querer, poder, infinitive verb. For example, quiero poder leer, I want to be able to read. Again, que is not needed because the sentence expresses a personal desire involving an ability. 3. When que is used. Que is used when there's a change in the subject after querer and you're expressing a wish or desire for someone else. For example, quiero que él lea, I want him to read. Here, que introduces a new clause that requires the subjunctive mood because it expresses a wish about someone else's action. 4. Expressing obligations or necessities. To express obligation or necessity, use tener que or deber. For example, tengo que leer, I have to read, or debo leer, I must read. Que is essential in tener que because it's part of the phrase that expresses the obligation. However, with deber, you directly use the infinitive without que. 5. Incorrect use of que. Using que directly before an infinitive verb without a change in subject or without necessitating a subjunctive clause is incorrect. For instance, debo que leer más is incorrect because deber is directly followed by the infinitive verb to express necessity without needing que. In summary, the necessity of que depends on the structure of the sentence and what you're trying to express, whether it's a desire, an obligation, or a wish for someone else's action. Poder can be directly used after verbs like querer to express the capability or possibility without que, whereas tener que and deber structure the expression of obligation differently with or without que. I hope this helps clarify the confusion. If there are more specific points you'd like to dive into, feel free to ask. The subjunctive mood in Spanish is not limited to specific verbs, but rather is triggered by certain contexts, expressions, and constructions that reflect wishes, desires, doubts, uncertainty, hypothetical situations, emotions, and polite requests. The use of the subjunctive is dependent on the structure of the sentence and the meaning being conveyed, rather than being strictly tied to specific verbs. Here are key situations where the subjunctive mood is typically used, illustrating that it's more about the context than specific verbs. 1. Wishes and desires, when expressing wishes or desires for someone else. Example, quiero que tengas éxito, I want you to be successful. 2. Doubt and denial, when expressing doubt, denial, or uncertainty. Example, dudo que él venga, I doubt that he will come. 3. Emotions, when reacting to something with emotion. Example, me alegra estés aquí, I'm glad you're here. 4. Impersonal expressions, phrases that express opinions or judgments about hypothetical or uncertain actions. Example, es importante que estudies, it's important that you study. 5. Adverbial clauses, with certain conjunctions that express conditions, purposes, or time-related actions, especially when the outcome is uncertain. Example, antes de que salgas, llámame. Before you go out, call me. 6. Commands and requests, in negative commands or polite requests. Example, no hables tan alto. Don't speak so loudly. Every verb can potentially be used in the subjunctive mood if the context requires expressing any of the above situations. The key is identifying the triggers within the sentence that necessitate the use of the subjunctive, rather than associating the subjunctive mood with a limited set of verbs. Yes, that's an insightful way to look at it, especially in the context of Spanish grammar. The use of que can indeed be a signal that the subjunctive mood might be required, but it's more about the context and the construction of the sentence than just the presence of que itself. Que is often used to introduce subordinate clauses, and whether the verb in that clause is in the subjunctive depends on the main clause's verb and the overall intent of the sentence. Here are some key points to understand the role of que in determining the use of the subjunctive. 1. Subjunctive triggers. The subjunctive is often triggered by expressions of emotion, doubt, desire, necessity, or subjunctive phrases in the main clause. If such an expression is followed by que, the verb in the following clause is likely to be in the subjunctive. 2. Expression of wish or desire. When a sentence expresses a wish, desire, or hope, e.g., quiero que, espero que, the clause following que typically uses the subjunctive. 3. Expression of doubt or uncertainty. If the main clause expresses doubt or uncertainty, e.g., dudo que, no creo que, the verb following que is in the subjunctive. 4. Affirmative versus negative statements. The mood of the verb can change from indicative to subjunctive with the negation of a statement. For example, creo que viene, I believe he is coming, uses the indicative, but no creo que venga, I don't believe he is coming, switches to the subjunctive. But 5. Impersonal expressions. Impersonal expressions that reflect opinion, necessity, or judgment, e.g., es importante que, es necesario que, lead to the use of the subjunctive in the clause introduced by que. 6. Commands and requests. In the case of commands or requests directed towards someone else, especially in negative commands or polite requests, is followed by the subjunctive. In essence, while que is a common indicator of a potential subjunctive, it's the verbs and expressions preceding que and the context of the sentence that truly determine whether the subjunctive mood is required. You conjugate verbs in the subjunctive mood in Spanish in specific situations that involve expressing wishes, desires, doubts, recommendations, emotions, hypothetical situations, or politeness. The subjunctive mood alters the verb's form to reflect these contexts, distinguishing them from the indicative mood, which is used for stating facts, certainties, and objective realities. Here's when to conjugate verbs in the subjunctive. 1. Wishes and desires. When you want something to happen or want someone else to do something. Espero que tengas un buen viaje. I hope you have a good trip. 2. Doubts and denial. For expressing doubt, denial, or uncertainty about a fact or situation. Dudo que él sepa la respuesta. I doubt that he knows the answer. 3. Emotions. When expressing feelings about a situation or action. Me alegra que estés aquí. I'm glad you are here. 4. Impersonal expressions. With impersonal expressions that express opinions, advice, or necessity, especially when they refer to actions or events that are uncertain or hypothetical. Es importante que estudies para el examen. It's important that you study for the exam. 5. Commands and requests, especially in negative or polite forms when giving commands or making requests that are not direct orders. Te pido que seas honesto. I ask you to be honest. 6. Adverbial clauses. With certain conjunctions that introduce conditions, time, and concessions, especially when the action is seen as uncertain or not yet realized. Voy a esperarte hasta que llegues. I will wait for you until you arrive. 7. After certain conjunctions. When conjunctions like para que, so that, a menos que antes de for, en caso de que, in case, introduce a purpose or condition that is not guaranteed. Lo haré para que estés contento. I will do it so that you are happy. Each of these contexts requires the verb in the subordinate clause, the part introduced by que, or the conjunction, to be in the subjunctive mood. The specific form of the subjunctive verb changes according to the subject, who is doing the action, and the tense, when the action is happening, much like with the indicative mood, but with different conjugation patterns to reflect the subjunctive's unique purposes. Into the development. Thank you for sharing your detailed progress on the story of Alex. It's evident that you've put considerable thought into the development of your narrative and characters. Your journey as a writer, including your struggles and achievements, is also quite inspiring. Let's dive into some feedback and suggestions to enhance your story further. General observations. 1. Commitment and consistency. Your dedication to writing daily, despite challenges like writer's block and balancing other interests, is commendable. This consistent effort is key to developing your story and honing your craft. Character development. You've done a great job fleshing out your characters, especially Alex. His journey from a fast food worker to the president is a compelling arc that offers numerous opportunities for growth and introspection. 3. Themes. The themes of personal growth, the impact of soft skills, and the transformative power of small, consistent changes are well articulated and provide a strong foundation for your narrative. Specific feedback and suggestions. 1. Alex's motivation and growth. In the early chapters, delve deeper into Alex's internal world. What are his fears, dreams, and frustrations in his current life? This will create a stronger emotional connection with the reader. As he progresses, show how his new skills tangibly affect his life and decisions. Incorporating life experiences. Your idea to integrate personal experiences into the story is excellent. It adds authenticity. For example, the journal discovery is a powerful way to reflect on Alex's past dreams. Consider using similar narrative devices to explore other characters' backgrounds and motivations. 3. Balancing different elements. Your story juggles multiple elements: personal growth, political ascent, interactions with mystical beings like Katie the cat, and more. Ensure each element complements the other without overwhelming the main narrative. Maybe focus more on how these elements serve Alex's journey rather than them being separate adventures. 4. Dialogue and interactions. Use conversations between characters like Alex and Jack to reveal more about their personalities, beliefs, and changes they undergo. Dialogue is a powerful tool for showing character development. 5. Addressing the inner critic. Your notes about battling the inner critic are relatable for many writers. Perhaps integrate this theme into your story. How does Alex confront his doubts and fears? This can add another layer to his character development. 6. Expanding on secondary characters. Sarah, Jake, and Sam have interesting backstories. Explore how their journeys intersect with and influence Alex's path. Their interactions can provide depth and additional perspectives to the central narrative. 7. Chapter pacing and structure. Each chapter has a clear focus, which is great. As you write, check if the chapters flow naturally into each other and if the pacing is consistent. Adjust as needed to maintain reader engagement. 8. Reflection and future goals. The entries from January 2024 show a reflective approach to your writing process. Keep leveraging this introspection to refine your story and character arcs. Moving forward. Next steps. Focus on expanding the chapters where you feel there's less content, especially around Alex's early days and his initial steps towards personal growth. Balancing writing with other interests. Your interest in creating GPTs and other projects is commendable. Consider how these can complement your writing. Maybe they can inspire new plot points or character developments. Your progress is impressive, and with continued dedication, your story has the potential to be a deeply engaging and inspiring narrative. Keep embracing both the challenges and joys of the writing process.